So hello, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another Assetto Corsa Competizione video. We're just setting off in the Honda NSX 2019 car, I believe, the Evo, with my own little livery that we've got on there. Now we're here today at Laguna Seca, probably not one of my favourite circuits, but I still enjoyed taking part in Sunday's hot lap session, and certainly a lot to take home from the session itself. Overall, I came in around third place, I think. Didn't post my ultimate fastest time, as I'd already submitted a time for the day, but coming back on a little bit later, I managed a little bit quicker lap time. But coming back, I also thought I would try the BMW here at Laguna Seca after spending a fair bit of time in the Honda NSX, and it was surprising to me just how much off the pace the BMW was. So I thought I would try and look at where the two cars differ, where you kind of need to be attacking the circuit differently for each car as well. I'd like to also cover a little bit about traction control and why we might be choosing to run a higher traction control. There was a comment in one of the in our Facebook group relating to why are people with high traction control settings able to set faster lap times. And I hope I'm going to try and touch on that a little bit in today's video. I'm also going to try, as you can see here, me getting a little bit out of shape, messing with the traction control. I'm also going to try and put the videos kind of overlapping each other. I don't know whether this is going to work or not. Footage from setting a fast lap, I'm going to try and overlap them and see where the BMW is slower than the Honda here. But we're also going to look over the two setups that I used for the event, for both the Honda and the BMW M4. So while we're still trying to explore the limits of the traction control here, let's go out and have a look at the lap. We will actually just come on board and look at a lap that I've just set. Actually, I'll just fast forward this and we'll just have a look at this last lap. I'm just going to change the camera angle to hopefully start the lap in this view, and I'm going to try and overlap them in this particular view because I think it might give us a chance as the cars sort of cross the line. If I try and overlap the camera footage, it might show us where the Nissan seems to step ahead. Now it's only it's not particularly the best lap, but it's still 122.3, which was literally my 6th or 7th lap, as you can see there from the replay footage. But it just seems like the BMW, you really are having to absolutely wring its neck to try and get the speed out of the car, and it just doesn't feel that way in the Honda. The lap time just seems to come to the Honda, and I really couldn't put my finger on where it is actually quicker, because even doing a lap in the BMW, it really does feel hooked up. So it'll be interesting to actually see this footage and see where the BMW is slower. If I just try and time it as they cross the line at the same time, we'll gradually see the cars at different places on the circuit. So let's come in and just do a little bit of a few laps in the Nissan. No, it's not, I keep calling it the Nissan, it's a Honda, isn't it? But we'll quickly look over this setup that I used. Obviously running caster to make the wheel feel a little bit heavier. It's not particularly one of the heaviest cars feeling force feedback wise, and I did actually increase the force feedback on my wheel for this car. I will dial it back a little bit in the BMW, but still only running at half power with the current firmware that I'm running. I think it's 689 firmware, but that goes all the way up to 200, and currently I've got it set at 98 on the force feedback, so it goes all the way up to 200. So the Club Sport wheelbase 2.5 is absolutely fantastic. It really is. I dread the day that something goes wrong with it. But obviously you can see traction control, we're running 7 and 8 here. 8 predominantly, 7 when I feel like the car is already accelerating, and it's not going to light up the rear tyres, but it will also stop the traction control from kicking in and limiting acceleration off the corner. 14 litres of fuel. Brake balance obviously helps turn the car a little bit under deceleration, and the steering ratio makes the car feel a little bit sharper, a little bit lower down. Other adjustments that I might have made is lowering the preload, just to try and get the car to rotate more whilst off throttle. I don't think I've touched anything to do with the wheel rates. Slight adjustments, I can't remember where, in the bump and fast rebound, etc. And lifting the ride height quite considerably, and also increasing the rear wing. The brake duct's fairly open, definitely at the front of the car, because the front right tyre does get quite punished. It's very hard to try and get tyre pressures correct for the whole lap, I think, at Laguna Seca. There's a lot going on with the circuits, with the corner selections. There is quite a good selection of left and rights throughout the whole circuit, so even though it's a clockwise circuit, there's lots of cutting back. So it is quite a tough one to get the tyre pressures worked out. So let's go on and do a lap. I'll just point out a few issues or points. Obviously I'm going to start braking around this 3 board all the way down to first gear. Try and hook up this inside curb and just be continuing through this apex as close as we can, and then really on the throttle here. Open the car up. You could go to TC7 here, try and get the car nice and straight, just braking down between the 2 boards there, very much balancing through the throttle, trying to pick up this inside curb. You can use so much of this track limits here, even out onto the dirt a little bit sometimes, but predominantly try and stick on the circuit. So as the circuit changes colour about here, we're going to take a tiny stab at the brake pedal, probably in 3rd gear, try and hook up this inside curb and then be flat on the power. All the way up to probably 4th, 5th gear even. Coming down the number 2 marker, down to 3rd gear, picking up this inside curb and accelerating off. Up to 4th gear probably, and then just as we come over the rise of the hill, a tiny stab of the brake pedal, settle the car and let the car run nice and wide. Bring it across to the left hand side to try and straighten up for the braking. Heavy on the brake pedal, down into 2nd gear, down into 1st gear, cutting a little bit of that inside curb and then on the power, nice and straight. Just as the circuit starts to change colour there, I'm just touching the brake pedal, getting the car to rotate, and again just touching the brake pedal here, getting the car to rotate, picking up the inside curb, dropping it to TC7 so it doesn't come in too much as we're braking just before that 2 board, and then just rolling through here and then on the power. So let's try and put that into a lap. Obviously no tyre pressure at the minute. Just wanting the car to rotate and then on the power TC7, TC8. You can see the car wanting to fight and get away. Just a touch of the pedal. TC7. We can stay in TC7 for this one. You can feel the car fighting to get away as well. Drop into TC8. So just off the pedal, little touch of brake pedal. Just touching the brake pedal to get the car to rotate. TC7. Just rolling. You can see the car's twitching away. Starting to get some tyre pressure now, some temperature in the tyres. Just using the brake pedal, turn, turn, turn. See, we're still struggling to get tyre temperature in that front right tyre. It is a lovely corner, that. Really struggling to get the car to slow down. You see this temperature in the front right tyre now is getting much hotter. Already into the 121s. $121.8. Oh, so a good lap there. 121.9s, 122.
Well done, mate. This has been your personal best.
Oh. Does feel so nice to drive the Honda. But you can see it just doesn't take very long to get into setting a competitive lap. Let's just see if we can see that second to last lap there then. I'll try and fast forward a lot of this. I wish there was a way you could just drag that across. I think a mouse would be much better use. So I think it's going to be lap 9, isn't it? This is really when the tyres are at the best, really. It's like... I wonder if we can see results here. So yeah, lap 9. We'll just quickly rewind that. And we'll try and get that so it's perfect. So yeah, I think the tyres on their third lap is the best lap for the tyres. It just seems to offer all the grip, all the temperature in the tyres is up, and it just seems to be a better level of grip than any other lap on the third lap. I don't know whether the tyres go out of the window temperature wise after that. But it really is nicely hooked up. It feels so nice, some of these corners. And I know the Porsche set the fastest lap on the night, but you could see the lap time was there, like a 1:21.8, which is what the fastest lap was on the night. And I think it could probably run quicker. I think it would probably do a 1:21.6. It's just hitting every single corner, obviously perfect, but you could say that about any fast lap. Just feels so nice to drive the Honda. So let's come out of there then. That's the Honda. I'll try and see if we can get both of them at the same time. So I'm going to quit this and I'm going to bring the the force feedback just down to 93 on my wheel, and we're going to swap across and jump into the M4. I'll stick my own livery on. I do like the blue. It's number 64, I think, the blue that I'm using. So same weather conditions. You can see there the fastest lap time I set with the BMW was 1:23.0, so that's literally a full second away from what we're getting in the Honda. And considering it's such a short lap, that's a huge amount of time. If you imagine doing a half an hour session, it's nearly 1:20 lap time. You're probably going to cover about 24 laps. To be 24 seconds away from somebody else, that is a country mile away. So let's quickly load up this setup. Obviously you can see I'm using a much higher caster. Maybe that's why I decreased the force feedback a little bit. Tyre pressures might not be 100% in this, and as you can see again, TC8, I do prefer to switch between TC8 and 9, but I'll try them on 7 and 8. Just change that to 1. Again, the brake balance brought this considerably down for this circuit. Maybe a little bit of a tweak at the preload again. Didn't really touch the wheel rates, although I think I remember just softening them out. I think they were like that 150. So just soften them out a little bit. Definitely adjusted a lot with the dampers in the short space of time I was in the car. Excuse me. And also changing the ride height at the rear. So let's see how we get on in the BMW. This will probably take a tiny bit of getting adjusted to. So, but I remember really pushing the car. So it feels like you're having to wait a little bit. You can see there the snap oversteer. Scraping a little bit at the front there. Probably do with lifting a touch. But very aggressive to slow down. Oh. Yeah, I'm not going to catch that. That was another thing someone pointed out as well the other day. The engine map in the Honda. I did try it on 4 and I tried it on 1, and I was happier with it on 1. Although I didn't see a massive difference between 1 or 4. So just run it on whatever you feel best between 1 and 4. So definitely much more grippier through there. Lots of rotation on acceleration. I generally run this, like I say, on 9. I do think TC8 would be better. Just not being able to get that right. Very feisty. And then getting the car slowed down again. Always an issue in the BMW. So 1:24.5, 2.5 seconds away. Oh. So just trying to straighten the wheel when we're on power. So 1:23.5, 1:23.4. So still 1.5 seconds away. Always wanting to be sideways. Oh. Let's try and go for a lap here then. I'm not going to spend ages on this. It's the fact that it's nowhere near. Even when it feels amazing, it's still nowhere near. Try another lap. One more. Always looking at that delta. Feel the torque through the wheel.
Well done, mate. Your fastest lap so far.
So there we go, 1:23.2. Let's see what the replay looks like. We're getting that other view as well. There we go. Like I said, I'll try and run these side by side or overlapping each other really. So hopefully we'll see just where the Honda is quicker. But you can certainly feel the torque through the wheel when there feels like there's grip in the BMW. But it really does just feels so much harder work trying to get the BMW around this circuit. But looking at the traction control, it really is an issue where you can see, when you can see the traction control light on the dashboard lighting up as you're coming off the corner, you know that it's impeding acceleration. But if you're fighting every time with the wheel to get the power down, or you're scared at getting the power down, you're probably better off increasing the traction control so that you can at least get the power down earlier. If you're starting to put the power down and the car's spinning out all the time, increase the traction control. If you reach a point where the car's under control, you're getting the power down nice and early, maybe you could look at reducing the traction control. But until you get that feeling, I think it's always better to run a higher traction control. So across the line, I'll just try and show you what I mean. So if we continue to drive, and I'll just bring up the MFD on the left hand side here. If we increase this to 9 I think is perfect for any driver. If I just plant the accelerator now, you can hear the traction control. You can see it flashing around. See, even there it's not an issue. The high speed corners, it's probably a bad place to try and emphasize traction control. So as I accelerate then, it's just that as you come off the accelerator, as you sort of power in the car. You can hear there, it's just limiting the car. And you can see by the delta at the top how much, while we're using TC9, how much it's limiting acceleration. Let's bring it down to traction control 5, something that a lot of people use. See, that's a little bit twitchy at the rear, and I need to be careful where I'm putting the power down. Perfect example. If you're not progressive with the acceleration, you just try and go absolutely full power when the traction control isn't limiting power. You need to be limiting how much power you're putting down. So the traction control is something that can be very forgiving, and it can also be very punishing. Obviously it rotates the car as well. So obviously you can make the car You can position the car with the throttle. If you put it back up to 8, it's more manageable. Ooh, just touching touching the dust. So yeah, just try different traction control settings, work higher and start to come down, and you'll gradually find somewhere in it like a happy medium. See me open the steering up. I really couldn't drive like that. I really couldn't. I said I'd have a go at this. It's too hard. Very hard to gauge what the car's doing. Definitely couldn't drive like that. Much prefer this view. So that's that. We've done that. Let's just quickly jump into another car just for the sake of it, just to see. I've not ran any laps whatsoever in the Porsche. I don't even think I've got a livery. Let's just use that. Been a long time since I've driven the Porsche. We'll turn up the force feedback to 98. Quickly make some adjustments. Obviously we're going to run absolutely maxed out. I'm going to increase the camber because I'd like to, the caster, because I'd like to feel the weight of the car. Don't know what PSI that we're going to be running. I'm going to run 9. I'm going to choose 4. In fact, let's just quickly, I just want to choose the aggressive setup, and then we're going to go from there. I'm going to put 1 again just because it's a good value, and I know that makes no sense to some people, just choosing it like that. Traction control, like I said, I'm going to run 8. I'm going to get rid of, I'll leave the engine map 8. I'm just going to get rid of TC2. Bring down 20 litres of fuel, let's call it, and put that to 2. I don't like the brake balance that far low, so I'm just going to lift it up a little bit, and I'm going to bring that down. So we've got a little bit more stability, or more positive turning. I'm just going to reduce that because it seems like a huge amount. We'll leave those as they are for now. We'll leave that as it is for now. We're quickly just going to try and run a few laps, see how the Porsche feels.
Green line, give it all you got.
Bring up the MFD so I could make a few changes on the fly. And that feels hugely close to me. This is how much I've not been in the Ferrari. In the Porsche, sorry, so I'd like to see that a little bit further away. See a little bit more of the dash. So very precise steering. It feels like I'm turning the wheel so little amount, and it's turning quite a lot. So I'm just going to increase the steering ratio a touch. It just feels like the tiniest movement and the car is rotating a lot. So for really small inputs, you can sometimes feel a little bit too precise. Leaves very little margin of error. A little bit understeery. Maybe that brake balance does want to go a little bit more rearward. That didn't like that at all. So maybe it's just sitting a little bit too low. Or maybe I hit that really badly. So again, still quite a lot of understeer and the braking. Quite a lot of rotation as well though. Try and get these tyres up to temperature. So initial turning is really responsive. Just struggling with tyre pressure at the minute.
Well done, mate. Personal fastest lap.
I did think for a second whether I could take that in fourth. Oh. So it's just like a little bit of brake and then the car wants to turn. Still struggling with them pressures. Might even bring that down a bit more. Bit too much for me. Bit too late on the brake. So a couple of things that are standing out for me. Brake balance, let's bring that down to 54. Need a little bit more stability at the rear, high speed, and tyre pressures a long way off. Traction control could maybe come down a touch. And let's just try and go for that. I just wanted to do a really quick setup in the Porsche. A long time since I've driven it, and this is a very quick setup. Just on the fly, sort of. Can it get into the 122s fairly quickly? Could maybe do with the preload coming down a bit. Definitely like to see a 122.
Well done, mate. This is me, your personal best.
So quickly into the 122s.
Well done, mate. Personal best.
I think I'll leave it there, to be honest. Try and watch a decent replay. So there we go, probably a fairly inconclusive video as to whether the Porsche is actually faster or not, in the hands of a complete novice Porsche driver, and with absolutely zero time to do a setup. I think probably 20 minutes isn't too bad to be able to get a 122.6 and actually not feel like I'm going to kill myself in the Porsche. Not particularly a car that I've ever really gelled with. It's got a very weird center of gravity sort of rotation for me. That's how it feels when I'm driving it. It doesn't ever truly feel at one with the Porsche, or I don't ever truly feel at one with it, but it still lights up the lap times. People still do well with it, so spend a bit of time, try and find out which car suits your driving style. There's certainly 3 very different cars in this video, but hopefully you've got a setup for each and every one of them. We'll quickly have a run through the setup that I'm using on the Porsche just for now, although it's not particularly the best of setups. So 122.7. I'll let you just pause the video where you want. Obviously didn't touch the dampers at all, and in all fairness they look terrible. And definitely bottoming out through the kink. But there we go. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Hopefully you'll join me Thursday evening for racing at Brands Hatch on the XL website. Until then, ciao for now.